Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Global Entrepreneurship Week, USA in Phoenix, Arizona. We are so happy to have you all with us and celebrate entrepreneurship around the planet and be a part of this amazing organization. My name is Tim Kelly. I head entrepreneurship here at Grand Canyon University. And I just want to start off with a quick note about Global Entrepreneurship Week. This amazing phenomena reaches millions of people in over 170 countries, with over 35,000 events reaching 9 million people. This has gone on for years, and now here we are playing our part in that to showcase the university ecosystems here in the state of Arizona. If you do get the chance, please, I'd like for you to check out the Global Entrepreneurship Week website. You can see the events going on through the course of the week. We are obviously on Wednesday. We're kicking off what is a showcase of the universities, U of A, ASU, and GCU. But there are events as well today, Thursday, and Friday still coming. We want to thank the Arizona Commerce Authority for their support of entrepreneurship in the Arizona community. Seed Spot, of course, one of the leadership groups in nonprofits, supporting entrepreneurship throughout Arizona and the country. We've got Startup Tucson, Innovations, and of course ASU and GCU and U of A. Also, special thanks to our sponsor, Atomic Social. They are specialists in web design, social media, and search engine optimization. Please make sure that you check them out as a way to build your business and reach your customers in a more efficient way. That being said, we are going to kick off the showcase of the university entrepreneurship ecosystems with the University of Arizona. And with that, I'd like to have a screen share, and if we could have Alyssa Liefeld, who heads up entrepreneurship there at the U of A, step right up.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction. And it's really great to be here amongst my colleagues from across the great state of Arizona. I'm really happy to represent University of Arizona. I'm currently serving as the interim director of the McGuire Center for Entrepreneurship, but I will be speaking on behalf of many of our ecosystem partners. So just bear with me as I do everyone's favorite thing these days, which is the Zoom screen share. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking really about an expansion that we've seen in the entrepreneurial ecosystem here in Tucson. The McGuire Center, as many of you may know, has been around for multiple decades. We were really one of the first entrepreneurship centers in the country, founded in the 1980s. And as we've been around, we've witnessed the growth of a number of partners in the Tucson area. And so I'll be talking about how we're all working to collaborate together, really for student success. So looking at students, and of course, many of our faculty inventors at the center of this ecosystem. So a little bit about myself before I start. I'm a relative newcomer. Sorry, I'm having some Zoom audio issues. Please bear with me. My name is Dr. Alyssa Liefeld, and I've got a really interdisciplinary...
There has been no force throughout human history that has created...
We're getting a little preview of some video, I guess.
There has been no force throughout human history that has created so much wealth, so much prosperity, lifted billions of people from poverty.
I'm not sure who's... Oh, okay. There, we've got it ended there, the video. Maybe we could just mute that, that particular computer. Anyways, I came on originally as a faculty member, and now I've had the pleasure, as I mentioned before, to step in as interim director while we search for a permanent director. But my work really as a researcher is oriented around entrepreneurial ecosystems in the food and agriculture industry. So I do a lot of work in the fair trade space. I'm also an educator, so you can see in this picture in the center, this was part of the McGuire Center's Big Pitch competition, which happens every semester for our seniors who take our innovation and entrepreneurship capstone course. Of course, one of my teams got second place, Avocado Jones. They were very excited about that. And then I'm also a social entrepreneur myself. So I was the founder and director of a food and cooking education nonprofit for about 8 years before I got back into academics. So today I'm really here to talk with you about the ecosystem. So the McGuire Center, as I mentioned before, has a long history, but all of the work that we're able to do today is really a result of all of our ecosystems partners. And so there are really 4 areas in which entrepreneurship happens at the University of Arizona. And I'm sure, my other colleagues could probably categorize their ecosystems in a similar way. And so the McGuire Center is really student focused. We're sort of the curricular space in which students gain access to entrepreneurship education. And so one of the main areas that the ecosystem serves students is really in student venture creation, technology, and education. And alongside the McGuire Center, we have a really dynamic partner called Eller Tech Core. They're really focused on bringing high-tech digital marketing and prototyping strategies into the classroom for students. We also have a new partner in the ecosystem. UA Forge has been a development in the making over the last couple years, and they recently launched, and they do host some co-curricular programming for students as well. Then we have UA faculty and again, I'm sure many universities, ASU and NAU and GCU also have similar features here. And venture commercialization for faculty and staff really happens primarily through Tech Launch Arizona. So that's our IP and tech commercialization hub at the university. And then we've got UA Community Venture Incubation and Acceleration. So this is sort of where the lines between the university and the community start to blur a bit in a really dynamic way. And those organizations that serve this community include UA Forge, which again just launched recently. And they're probably most well categorized as an accelerator in the ecosystem. We've also got the UA Center for Innovation and then Startup Tucson, who really serves both the university community and more robustly, I think, the Tucson community in Southern Arizona as well. And then bringing all of this together, and these are really events where I think all of our ecosystem partners participate and contribute, are some of our really dynamic showcase events and experiences. And so that includes one of our flagship events, which is called 10 West. It's been going for about a decade at this point, and started originally as the idea funding competition and really blossomed into a much more robust and dynamic event. We like to think of 10 West as being maybe a couple years behind South by Southwest in terms of the focus and the folks that we draw to this type of festival. Of course, this year it will be happening over a longer period of time and through some digital opportunities, and that'll be happening in the spring. We also have New Venture AZ, which many of us participate in. UA Forge has a program that happens throughout the year called Forged by Design, and it features a number of different student challenges and then pitch competitions. And then at the McGuire Center, we have an event called the New Venture Competition, which I'll get into a little bit more as I describe more details about the McGuire Center and then how we interact with the ecosystem. So this is another diagram that shows really all of the co-curricular entrepreneurship opportunities for students. So from a student perspective, there's a lot of different access points into this ecosystem. As I mentioned earlier, the McGuire Center is really sort of at the curricular center of the ecosystem. We have a Spark program for students who are in their sophomore year, and then that can often lead students into our new venture development program. That gives students 8 credit hours. So they get 8 credit hours from completing this year-long program. And many of the student teams do go on to launch in some capacity. We also have a senior capstone course that all of our business school students at the Eller College of Management take as undergrads. And we recently started an online master's program in entrepreneurship, which has seen a doubling in enrollment since we started last year. As I'm sure many of your online programs have also seen a lot of growth as a result of the current pandemic and all of our remote activity. We also recently merged with an entity called TechCore, which is based in the Eller College of Management. And like I was mentioning before, they're really focused on integrating fourth industrial revolution technology into entrepreneurship education at the Eller College of Management. And so many of our students really benefit from this. You know, they often come from traditional business education backgrounds. And so for them to be able to get exposure to really cutting edge technology and development is really essential, especially in this day and age. And then, as I was mentioning, we have a new member to the ecosystem, UA Forge, and they really focus on sponsored challenges and experiential learning through their co-curricular program Forged at University of Arizona. They also play a really big role in the 10 West Impact Festival, and then they run a seed accelerator, as I had mentioned. We also have Tech Launch Arizona. They have an entrepreneurial fellows program, and then they also run student innovation challenges, which really gets students involved in potentially creating IP from their ideas and also getting support for that. And then we have Tech Parks Arizona that offers student internships, and they also do early stage technology incubation as well. And while I know this diagram looks like kind of swimming lanes in a swimming pool, and we're all sort of staying nicely in our lanes, I'm going to share an example a little bit later on in my presentation about how, from the student perspective, they can access a lot of these resources as student entrepreneurs. So I would be remiss without going into more detail about the McGuire Center and the programs that we offer. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about our programs, which, again, from a student perspective, are really the start of where students may usually begin their entrepreneurial journey. So we have a graduate program for an online master's in entrepreneurship. And many of our students are based in Arizona, but we do get students from across the country and also internationally as well. And that creates a really dynamic cohort. Talking about problems that confront Arizona and Southern Arizona, but we have students participating from South Africa. I had a student from Ghana recently in my social entrepreneurship class. So it's a really exciting program. We also have a very robust undergraduate program that reaches about 1,000 students a year. So that's a really large footprint, and we're really proud of that. We have a major in entrepreneurship, a minor in entrepreneurship, an honors program. And then, as I mentioned before, we reach all seniors in their final year through the senior capstone. We also have a social innovation certificate available as well for students who are focused on making social impact. I mentioned the Spark program for the sophomores, so that's sort of building the pipeline and exposing students when they're younger to entrepreneurship education. And then often many of these students that participate in our various curricular opportunities end up applying for the new venture development program, which is combined with TechCore. So that's kind of a snapshot of the McGuire Center and really our curricular opportunities at the University of Arizona. So I'm going to talk now about the student experience, and this will kind of really show the group how all of these different resources in the ecosystem can come together from the student experience. And this really came out of an opportunity I had as, I think it was my first year as a faculty member, and I was teaching a class, a special topics class on agricultural innovation. As I mentioned before in my introduction, my background's really in food systems and agriculture, so I was really excited about this. Really unique opportunity. So basically we had MBA students, one of whom is pictured here, Randy Mitchell, who incorporated Polydrone and became the chief executive officer. We had a group of MBA students working with engineering senior design to use tech launch IP for a semi-autonomous drone technology. And so their challenge over the course of the year was not only to prototype and pilot the technology with a date farmer out in Yuma, but also to create a go-to-market strategy. And so really the student teams drew from a number of different resources in the university ecosystem, and even beyond their graduation, continue to work with the ecosystem. So I'll show you a little bit more of how the student experience kind of went through all of these different partners. So as I mentioned before, we had students from the MBA program, we had McGuire Center, New Venture Development students, and then College of Engineering students. And there was some overlap even between were also part of the New Venture Development Program. And then we were working with our U of A partner out in Yuma, the Yuma Center for Excellence in Desert Agriculture. So throughout the year, students were really working mostly within the university ecosystem, coordinating with Tech Launch Arizona. But as the student team graduated and actually formed an LLC, they joined the NSF I-Corps program, which is really a customer validation program through the National Science Foundation that's coordinated by Tech Launch. And so this was really exciting that the students, went on to participate in that program. They ended up in the fall of 2019, so just about a year ago, participating in the 10 West Festival. They participated in a panel, and then they also presented as an idea funding venture team, and they won an award, and I think it was audience favorite, which is really exciting. So that's kind of a great example of how the student experience can move from a really dynamic interdisciplinary experience in the classroom environment and curricular programming out into sort of the broader U of A entrepreneurial ecosystem, and then even beyond that to work with some of our community partners as well. So that's kind of an overview for folks about where the ecosystem is now at the university. I know that from the McGuire Center's perspective, we really look forward to continuing to deepen the relationships we have with a lot of our ecosystem partners and really working using a strategy I like to call radical collaboration to kind of just really build and enhance the student experience at University of Arizona. And an area that we're really looking forward to developing, hopefully with your help, everyone else on the panel, is to coordinate at the state level to really create interchange between student entrepreneurship here at the U of A and then also at ASU, NAU, GCU, and our other partners in Arizona. So that's the end of my description of our ecosystem, and I'll look forward to hearing from my colleagues on the panel.
Alyssa, thank you so much. What a great ecosystem you all have built there in Tucson. With that, I think we move over to Tracy Leah from ASU.
Yes, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. My name is Tracy Lee, Associate Director of Venture Development at the newly named Institute, J. Orrin Edson Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute. And like my colleague Alyssa, I'm going to try to do the very tricky screen share. So bear with me while I get this loaded up here. And to get us started. Okay, so I'm going to play a short video for you that really kind of gives you the 30,000 foot or maybe 100,000 foot overview of innovation at ASU and how entrepreneurship and innovation is really at the heart of everything that we do. Innovation.
Hi, Michael Crow here, president of ASU. Innovation is critical to the success of our society in all things. New medical technology, new communications technology, new ways to teach, new ways to learn, all these things. And what we found here at ASU, and what's so important to us, is that we're finding ways to take a world-class research university and connect it with everyone. That's a process of cultural evolution and innovation. That's a process of technological innovation. That's a process of changing how we're doing things. And so we're very excited about our ranking for the 6th year in a row as #1 in innovation. And what it means is we're going to be able to reach more people with more teaching, learning, and discovery, empowerment, using every innovation imaginable. So that's what this is all about. And I just want to say thank you to the teams at ASU that have really been able to make this happen.
All right, I wanted to lead with that because it really showcases how the entrepreneurial mindset and innovation is at the heart of everything we do at ASU. In fact, one of our 8 design aspirations is valuing entrepreneurship. And so where I fit into that piece is part of Edson E&I. And as I mentioned, we just were named as an institute. Our role across the university is really pan-university. So our mission is really to connect and collaborate across all the academic colleges and schools for all of our students, faculty, and community. And of course, the greater community is really vital to what we do. We believe we have a responsibility to be able to enhance and empower those in our community as well with the resources for entrepreneurship that we provide. Additionally, we really focus on interdisciplinary. And I know my colleague at U of A talked about that and how important that is. It really is vital that we are able to reach across all the different colleges and schools and really have that focus on collaboration. In fact, at our unit, we have a lot of cross appointments so that we can really embed entrepreneurship in all facets of ASU. We're committed to inclusion. This is something incredibly important to ASU, diversity and inclusion. Serving our entrepreneurs, we believe it's not who we exclude, but who we include and how they succeed. We also have a shared support model. So we are not a singular hub that lives in the business school or Fulton Schools of Engineering, but we're really in service and support across the whole of ASU to really bring entrepreneurship and that entrepreneurial mindset to life. Major funders, we've had a lot of success over the last several years with Edson E&I. We do a lot of work in a lot of different arenas. So our Verizon Foundation, we have a very strong youth entrepreneurship team that predominantly serves our Title I schools in helping to bring technology and innovation into the classroom and empower our teachers to be able to allow different pathways in STEAM and other aspects for our students to really have them see and amplify that they can have a wonderful future and to be able to embrace technology. Peoria Forward, that's another program that we have a very close collaboration with Peoria. One of my colleagues works in that arena on really embedding entrepreneurship into their communities and how they can be connective tissue and really developing a vibrant ecosystem that speaks to Peoria's resources and strengths. We had a partnership with the City of Phoenix for the RISEN program, and that was around the circular economy. How do we reimagine product life cycles and how do we divert away from landfills and to be able to have a more sustainable future? We have a lot of different programs that really serve to advance the culture of entrepreneurship. And that really starts with broad awareness of entrepreneurship. We have a very robust student outreach and engagement. We have university fellows, E&I fellows, that are incoming first-year students that have an interest in entrepreneurship and to be able to pursue different pathways of their choosing. That fellows program began, I believe, with 20 or 30 E&I fellows. We now have over 100 E&I fellows, and that's actually one of the markers on why they chose ASU over other universities is their ability to start their first year experience and to be able to really explore pathways in entrepreneurship. We look at all of those different stages of development through the entrepreneurial life cycle. So how do they get exposure to entrepreneurship? How do they look at it from a standpoint of different mindset and a way of problem solving? We give them opportunities through curricular and co-curricular courses that they can explore entrepreneurship and what that might mean to them. And then we look at how do they start in the venturing process once they decide, I have an idea and I want to be able to explore how I grow this idea. And that's where venture development and my office comes in to assist them in that exploration. So again, I am the Associate Director of Venture Development. I have 2 outstanding colleagues that work with me on the team, Chase Norris, who's our Program Manager for Venture Development, and Brittany Martin, who is our Program Manager for Venture Development as well. And we are a small but mighty team across the rest of our Edson E&I team. We have quite a number of ventures in our Venture Devils program, which I'm going to tell you a little bit about. So this is our primary program to support our students, faculty, and community ventures in launching their idea. We're very agnostic as far as industry, stage of development. We have many of our students that come to the program with just an idea, and they're in that ideation phase. And how do they get that from ideation to customer discovery to proof of concept to product development to go to market? And so Venture Devils' wide scope is to really support our student faculty and community-based entrepreneurs developing those ventures. And that has a different construct for each of these student entrepreneurs or faculty entrepreneurs or community entrepreneurs. I know Alyssa mentioned the I-Core program. We do have that as well for a lot of our faculty to develop and how do they really understand the product market fit and that customer discovery piece for the technology that they're developing. We have basically a couple of different ways that we support our entrepreneurs with Venture Devils. So we have several different pillars of support. I would argue the venture mentor piece is one of the most important aspects of that. We have venture mentors that are hired on as academic associates, but they are actually practicing entrepreneurs and experts in their field that really are paired for that dedicated ongoing support for our ventures. This is really critical because a lot of our ventures, if they can see pathways via role models and mentors in the program, they feel empowered that they can be able to achieve the success that these mentors have achieved. They can help unlock pathways and help them overcome obstacles. Second piece of that is our training and development. So think about workshops and other entrepreneurial aspects that really need some drilling down. So things like legal formation. How do they look at accounting and financials especially once they've won some seed funding? How do they really start cross-cutting into the stages of development in their venture development lifecycle? We have our co-working spaces, obviously, that's taken a little bit different approach this year during the age of COVID, but we do have co-working and co-collaborative spaces across the Phoenix metro area, including at SkySong, 1951 at SkySong, that our ventures are able to have the resources and support they need to be able to continue to grow their venture. And of course, seed funding. Who does not love to have some seed funding? We actually have our demo day coming up on December 4th. We're going to be awarding over $150,000 in seed funding. We have 76 ventures that are going to be competing for seed funding this year across multiple funding tracks. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the presentation. But to give you an idea of scale, so this is what we do at ASU. We are the largest public university in the country, and Venture Devils certainly can boast some proud numbers with that as well. At the conclusion of last spring, we had close to 550 ventures in the Venture Devils program. As you can see, the majority, about 75%, we usually track between 75 to 80% student-led ventures, and the rest is community ventures. That could be ASU alum. Those could be ventures from our Peoria Forward project, from our Project Risen that we worked with the city of Phoenix, a number of different EDS and E&I facing community programs. Oftentimes those ventures will come into the Venture Devils program. And then of course, we support our faculty and staff in launching their ventures as well. And after those numbers in May, we, of course, as everybody, what does entrepreneurship look like in the age of COVID and a lot of the deep challenges that we're facing? And we found that we are needing entrepreneurs now more than ever. We need to really empower them to be able to harness their ideas and to be able to bring them to market. And so we found a great interest in entrepreneurship. As we go into this fall semester, we added another 120 ventures to our program. So we have over 660 ventures in the Venture Devils program. And again, across multiple verticals and multiple industries, stages of development. I'll talk a little bit about how we are supporting those ventures in each of those arenas. Again, our 4 pillars are really that mentorship. We have the collaboration space. And the reason why we have Bob's Big Boy is a picture there. If you're wondering, what is that fun fellow? That's part of our 1951 at SkySong space. We named it after the year of Scottsdale incorporating as an ode to our partnership with the city of Scottsdale. And so one of our supporters had given us on loan some of the artifacts from the 50s. So if you go into that space, you'll see Bob's Big Boy there and other interesting artifacts that really celebrate the incorporation of the city of Scottsdale at our space there. Again, our funding opportunities, I'll talk a little bit about our seed funding in a moment. And then perks and resources. And I know my colleagues across GCU and U of A are certainly familiar with a lot of the ecosystem perks and resources that are supporting our entrepreneurs. And that's a really key piece. And I think how we connect our entrepreneurs to those resources to help them along their pathway is really vital as well. So we look at our branches and partners. And so what we found, it's really difficult when you have a program at scale like this, over 660 ventures, how do we help support them? And so we've had to take a look at where are the gaps in their stages of development and where are the arenas that we need more nuance and specific support for them? And how do we target those resources appropriately? And especially during the age of COVID, it's really critical that we are very targeted with our resource allocation. So a couple of programs that started to emerge through the Venture Devils program, and that really started with Global Sport Track. So we have a partnership with the Global Sport Institute at ASU, which is in partnership with Adidas. And so we had one of our venture mentors that said, hey, you know, why don't we take a look at maybe there could be some seed funding associated with our global sport ventures through Global Sport Institute. And through that, we were able to identify those ventures that were involved in global sport. And that could be anything from health and wellness. It could be the fan experience at a sporting event. That could be wearables and other technology. And so we started identifying those ventures and we awarded seed funding through the Global Sport Funding Track. We were able then to provide them more specific programming, including winners that won a trip to the Adidas headquarters in Portland to be able to meet with subject matter experts and really start talking about their ideas and how they can take them a step further. The other thing we discovered on our path, Retail Devils, we had a student came to us and said, okay, I have a t-shirt that I'm going to put Sun Devil logo on and I want to sell it to my fellow students. And we're like, whoa, the logo police will come after you, but let's figure out how we can make that work for you. And, you know, our students see we have Sun Devil marketplaces, right? And they are entrepreneurs and they think, well, why can't I be able to sell my product in the Sun Devil marketplace? I see that we have these stores and it's a perfect environment. And we thought, you know what, you're absolutely right. So we forged a partnership with ASU Auxiliary Business Services and Follett, who operates the Sun Devil marketplaces and other bookstores, in fact, 1,200 around the country. To date, we now have 5 of our ventures that have scored vendor contracts with Follett, which is really unheard of on the local level. But we were able to break through those barriers and establish pathways through pop-up sales events that instead of having 10,000 units, they were able to only produce 10 and be able to start experiencing that retail environment and how they can start incrementally scaling up to be able to be full-fledged in the retail environment. Our Venture Devils Plus, this was in a response to those who won funding at Demo Day and working with our donors. And our donors would say, well, how are they doing? We awarded them 10,000 last Demo Day. And so we thought, okay, well, we would love to be able to show that that created great traction and momentum. Venture Devils Plus, we launched this year as a mechanism to bridge that gap from we built the thing works, but now how do we go to market? And how do we look at those skill sets that can operationalize those activities? How can these ventures better understand how to create those revenue streams, how to look at cost structures, how to acquire first customers, and what kind of skill sets do they need to be able to start going to market and to be able to take advantage of other external opportunities. So Venture Devils Plus is on its 3rd cohort. We're very excited and proud that we're starting to build a bridge from, as we put it, our friends and family funding through our Demo Day to other opportunities where they can continue to grow and scale. We have our arts and culture track, which we are going to be launching in the spring. We're very excited to be working with our folks at HIDA to be able to unlock pathways for performing arts and other arts and culture tracks that they can see a pathway for themselves. And we have our Venture Vets program, which is for our veteran entrepreneurs. Myself, I am a Navy reservist, 10.5 years strong and counting. And so we support our veteran entrepreneurs, whether they are active, reserve, retired, they could be a military spouse. We really love to support our veterans because we know that they acquire the skill sets through military service that are particularly effective in the entrepreneurial arena. So we look at our Demo Day and we're very excited. Again, we are in Demo Day season right now and how we work that out with our ventures and how do we do that? We have over 600 ventures and what does that look like? We start with our precursory event called Pitch Playouts. So we invite all of our ventures in the program to submit a 5-minute video pitch along with an executive summary. We have a team of evaluators that will evaluate these ventures, and that's how we down select to put them in various funding tracks for Demo Day. So where does that money come from? And that's a very good question. We work very hard with our development partners across the university. And this is just an example. We work very closely with Fulton Schools of Engineering, our Teachers College Global Sport Institute, as I mentioned before, WP Carey. We have some great collaborations with those development partners. And then we have some other partners, Follett, as I mentioned, for our retail doubles program. We had a partnership with Amazon Alexa on how do we introduce voice recognition technology into any venture that they're working on. Spanner with engineering support. We had a partnership with Phoenix Rising to have part of global sport. So these funding tracks come from a number of different arenas. And to give you an example, and we have one of our entrepreneurs who's going to be speaking with you today, who is part of the MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program. And this is an illustration of how we're in support across the university. We had MasterCard Foundation Scholars. Those students come to the US from Africa to get their degrees and return back to their home countries to empower their communities. MasterCard Foundation recognized that these students are incredibly entrepreneurial and they wanted to support their entrepreneurial aspirations. So they gave ASU $50K over 2 years to create a funding track for these specific students. And so MasterCard Foundation Scholars Office called us and said, well, how do we do this? How do we set up a competition? What do we do? And I said, well, we already have the foundation set for you. We already have the environment where we can bring in these students into the Venture Doubles program, providing them mentorship and support, and have them pitch for this funding track at Demo Day. We have our EC Challenge, which is powered by the Prescott Student Venture Fund, which is also responsible for our new Masters in Innovation and Venture Development program that we have at ASU. And of course, our Edson Student Entrepreneur Initiative, which is our signature program that got us underway in 2005, supporting our student entrepreneurs. And that was really the catalyst of how we support our student-led entrepreneurs at ASU. We also have our Ashton Family Venture Challenge, which is focused too on our veteran entrepreneurs, Sarson Family Venture Challenge. So we have a number of different donors and supporters that provide the seed funding for our ventures. So to give a snapshot of the activity that we had this past spring on our demo day, we had to pivot virtually like every one of our colleagues had to do. We funded 48 unique ventures. We gave away 51 awards and 312,000 in seed funding. And in fact, one of our donors was so excited when we had our reception, we were awarding all the big checks to our ventures. He wanted to pony up another $10,000 to one of our ventures. He was so inspired by the work that they're doing. And I think really at the heart of it is resilience, to see, especially during a time of COVID, how our ventures are learning how to pivot, and they are persistent and they are passionate and they are driven and they are committed to be able to bring their ideas to life and knowing that the world needs them. So we're super excited to be able to support our ventures in the way that we are able to. We are very grateful that we have an institution and across our region, which is one of the stories I think that we don't tell enough. It's not just what's happening at ASU, it's also what's happening with our colleagues at U of A and what's happening with NAU and what's happening with GCU and what's happening in the state of Arizona, which is really such an amazing story that we have to tell. And of course, you know, we like to boast that I had the bookends. So I had the video in the front end and I have to kind of wrap it up in the back end to tidy up nicely. #1 in the US for innovation. And I hope you had an opportunity and appreciation to see why. So thank you very much. That is the end of my piece on ASU, on what we provide to the ecosystem.
Well, Tracy, that is a fantastic, unbelievable, in-depth presentation. Love to see all the things that ASU has been able to do over the years to enhance the Arizona ecosystem. And now for GCU, it's my opportunity, Tim Kelly, the chair of our entrepreneurship department here at Grand Canyon University. I'd like to go through just a little bit of the history first of the university itself. So founded in 1949, small Christian university here in Arizona, largely focused on teachers and nurses. Never really grew over a few thousand students. Then, in the early 2000s, transformed itself into an entrepreneurial ecosystem and was able to expand, building an online platform. Since then, the university has grown. We are now 23,000 students on our main campus here in the west side of Phoenix on 35th Avenue in Camelback. We have nearly 80,000 students online, robust programs now in a new engineering college for electrical engineering, biomedical engineering, mechanical engineering. And really, we've built an entrepreneurial spirit here that is unlike just about any other university in the country, we believe. There is an undergraduate major that encourses several different programs to it that begin with understanding technologies, teaming with our engineering and computer science students, and how those technologies are exponential and are converging, and how we use them to solve real-world problems. From there, it's all to networking, cash flow valuation, scalability, HR, and certainly understanding how we seek investment, which we'll get more into later. I have a quick video here that, let's see.
There has been no force throughout human history that has created so much wealth, so much prosperity, lifted billions of people from poverty than business. Yet, overwhelmingly, people across the planet have a negative view of capitalism. They think of businesses and big corporations as greedy entities. And the simple fact is that there is no comparable force for good.
When Grand Canyon looks at business, they look at it from a perspective that the rest of the world should look at business as an opportunity to make the world a better place. Not by cutting corners, not by taking the easy way out, but really taking the time to listen to and to invest in people well. And when you do that well, from the products you're making, to the relationships that you're building, to the businesses that you're creating, you're able to directly impact people's needs by supporting them. And when you're impacting people's needs and supporting them well, you change the world.
GCU is using its resources to try to accomplish more than just build a big university. It's trying to impact the lives of people around here.
If we look at our surrounding communities and how a business can be able to create jobs, but more than just giving them employment, what else can we do? If you think about it, we have a university who has a restaurant, who has a golf course, who has a hotel. And if we look at the hotel for an example, these employees don't work for the hotel, they work for a university. So now we're giving an opportunity beyond just employability. We're allowing the sons and daughters of these employees to be able to have access to an education and change their lives and their generation for the best. And I think that is a great way on how we're leveraging entrepreneurship to embed it into part of the DNA and who we are as a university.
Everything that we do is putting people first. It's creating opportunities for people to succeed, achieve, and pursue the things that they're passionate about.
The ideals here at Grand Canyon University are to use business to elevate humanity, to allow students the opportunity to truly learn of having a higher purpose and integrating all your stakeholders, your vendors, your contractors, your community, your schools, your government, your employees. If you're all in and invest in all of your stakeholders, you just won't win in the short term, you'll win in the long run. And that's how business can be a force for good, to impact society and make Arizona truly a community of purposeful businesses.
Okay, let's get that out of there. So, let me walk through a little bit of the way in which we make entrepreneurship happen here in GCU. So, we are student focused. It begins with our student clubs called the Idea Club, which promotes all things entrepreneurship across the entire university and all its colleges. First and foremost, we have a thing called the Marketplace, where student businesses are able to actually sell to other students on campus, generally on a monthly basis. We run this out in our main quad area, and we have dozens of businesses, from shirts to bow ties to hair cutting salons and all kinds of fascinating services that students can offer to one another to validate and scale their business ideas. Each week on Mondays, we run what we call a Shark Tank, so that students from all over the university can actually come together and pitch their ideas in a competitive format, in a collaborative format, so that they can form teams and begin to test and scale and implement their ideas. That Shark Tank thing, as we call it, feeds into our business plan competition, which we call our Canyon Challenge. The Canyon Challenge happens each semester, culminating out of the Shark Tanks into the 5 finalists that pitch in front of an audience and judges, and are awarded typically $5,000 to $10,000 each round as seed money to help them then take that idea further. We also promote the Project Management Institute, and we run TEDx. through TEDx Grand Canyon University each year, and we have an engineering Lopes Lab, which is a prototyping space with dozens of 3D printers and all types of equipment from injection molding machines so that students can actually begin to prototype their products. Again, I'll open up a little video here showcasing some of that activity.
Entrepreneurial spirit at Grand Canyon University stems from the opportunities that are provided to students. We're very collaborative. So you have business students working with engineering students, business students working with technology students, and that's allowed this environment to share ideas because every business needs the subject matter expertise, they need technology, and they need then a business person to kind of help bring it all together.
Grand Canyon is striving, taking leaps and bounds to ensure that the students at this university are resourced well and are given opportunities, not just told about opportunities, where they can practically do hands-on work.
They're very willing to just give you the keys with something, whether it's a small project or a big project, and say, hey, run with it and make us proud. It can be a lot of responsibility at times, it can be a lot of weight on your shoulders, but where else are you going to be a part of this wave and growth other than here at GCU?
Students want to do something and they have a lot of initiative on their own, and that initiative just needs to be creatively released. You give them a lot of trust and a lot of opportunity to kind of go with what they can do, and they outperform our expectations every time.
We have programs like Idea Club, which walks you through not only how to start your business, but how to kind of get to the point where you can present and pitch in front of any pitch competition. And we actually have programs that have set people up to pitch internationally.
We do Marketplace and we do Canyon Challenge. So that's exactly where students who already have businesses are able to show their businesses. At Marketplace, they're able to sell their products, services to other students, to other professors, and like anyone who's at GCU. At Canyon Challenge, they are able to compete in kind of like a Shark Tank competition.
You create this environment at GCU of entrepreneurship, and suddenly everybody is now capable of being entrepreneurial, because ultimately it's all about interaction with people. You get this opportunity to start having conversations about what you love, and so it's no longer you in this little corner of the world thinking about your idea, it's you speaking to a community of people and discovering that it makes sense outside of your own head and into a business sometimes.
So it's a mix of the academic experience, the co-curricular and extracurricular opportunities, with the faculty involvement on a university that is living and breathing the principles of conscious capitalism, of a higher purpose and stakeholder integration. That is what fosters the entrepreneurial opportunities and successes for our students.
Okay, with that, so our wonderful students have been competing for now 10 years in those programs, but we went a step further. We said, how is it that we can bring the ecosystem of entrepreneurship right here on our 400-acre campus? And with that, we brought in a gentleman named Robert Vera, who is going to walk us through what is now Canyon Ventures. Robert?
Thanks, Tim, and thanks for having me. Welcome, everybody. I think one of the greatest takeaways of today, or this experience, is to showcase what opportunities and how great it is to be an entrepreneur here in Arizona. You've seen ASU, GCU, U of A, NAU. There's other universities here, but Arizona now ranks one of the top places, Phoenix, one of the top places in the nation, in the United States for entrepreneurship. And we encourage entrepreneurs to come here. So if you're interested in being an entrepreneur, there's no better place than Arizona. So we're standing here today in Canyon Ventures. We're a 140,000 square foot facility, and we house 30 startup ventures in various different industries, everything from student startups, which include an electric longboard company that sell to the 22,000 or 23,000 students on campus and globally. Other organizations or other companies that are included here are companies that in the med tech space. We have a company that they turn your iPhone or your phone into a mobile laboratory. They can do a 10-minute COVID test, both antigen and antibody tests. So we have med tech, fintech, ed tech, a number of different companies, including some companies that are student startups. But there's a video here I'd like to show just about what we do for entrepreneurs here.
Welcome to Grand Canyon University. Welcome to Grand Canyon University. We're so excited to have you here. We're so excited. Can't wait to have you here. Can't wait to help you find your purpose. We believe GCU educational experiences to springboard you into successful careers. We offer countless hands-on clubs, activities, and opportunities, which help you gain real-world experience while still on campus. One of the unique opportunities GCU students can benefit from is Canyon Ventures, our startup incubator. Canyon Ventures currently houses more than 30 startups, 7 of which are founded by GCU students or recent graduates. By providing entrepreneurs with expert training, a talented GCU student workforce, and access to equity funding through our partner, Canyon Angels, we give our entrepreneurs a competitive edge to grow their companies. GCU offers students a one-of-a-kind educational experience by combining startup job opportunities with our classroom education. Canyon Ventures gives our GCU students the opportunity to grow their own companies. If starting a company is not your ambition, you can gain professional experience working for one of our ventures. This experience allows our graduates to compete for positions and salaries far beyond entry level. For more information on Canyon Ventures, visit gcuworks.com.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Robert. Truly an amazing ecosystem that is surviving even through COVID here. While we're socially distanced, we do have teams working here actively engaging our students. The final piece is Canyon Angels. So I myself have been an angel investor now for over a decade, having exited companies in the past in different industries, from construction to facilities management to real estate finance. And had run Thunderbird Angels in the past and started Canyon Angels here at Grand Canyon University just about 4 years ago. We invest in tech startups from all across the country. We have 65 plus investors now. These are all accredited investors, entrepreneurs in their own right that have had their exits and now look to redeploy money back into exciting new technologies. But what's unique about Canyon Angels is that we partner with our students. For anyone in the university who wants to take the one credit Canyon Angels due diligence class, they can engage directly with our investors, evaluating what these ventures are that are submitting for funding. So to date, we have funded more than 31 ventures, over $3.5 million. And as we say to our members, it's a chance for them to not only build a portfolio of exciting startups, but also to build a legacy by sharing their experience with students side by side. And I have a quick video here to showcase Canyon.
Canyon Angels is an independent nonprofit of accredited investors. These are people that have made significant amounts of money in their life selling businesses. They now join Canyon Angels as a way to invest in startup companies. What we do is we engage students to help us do the due diligence. It's actually investigating the companies in which we hope to invest. We tend to invest between $25,000 up to a couple $100,000 into a handful of companies each year. Each company comes and pitches during a dinner or lunch event. They get half an hour to do so. They leave the room. The students stand up and actually report to the investors what they discovered in their investigation of that company.
When the investors come in and the startup CEOs come in, they see our energy and what we're hoping to provide value-wise, and we want to get our hands dirty, and we want to be able to help these businesses grow and help an investor make a good decision with his money.
You're looking over financials, you're looking over the marketing plan, operations, all these things, but then you also get to meet the co-founders, right? And that's the cool part whenever you start talking to them about their business and you realize that they've taken a path, they've taken, maybe even 10 years to get there, and it encourages you as a young person, like, you can get there as well.
Talking to them just helped me to know if I want to be an accountant, or if I want to be a CFO in the future, or if I want to be a programmer, engineer. And it really helped me to understand better about what they do.
There has been no force.
Well, and with that, that showcases each of our ecosystems here at Grand Canyon University. We are so grateful to have had the opportunity to lead the effort to bring together ASU, U of A, and Grand Canyon University and celebrate entrepreneurship in the state of Arizona. To be a part of Global Entrepreneurship Week is an honor. We think the initiative of entrepreneurship around the planet empowers individuals to better their own condition. It is an honor. We're grateful, and we have a few minutes, 3 minutes or so, till we're going to kick off our student panel coming up. And we just want to take a quick break as we reorganize and gather a few of those students. It will be U of A that will come up first. So, Alyssa, if you can have your students on deck, it would be a great thing. In just 3 minutes, we will continue the stories from the student perspective about each university moving forward. Thank you all. Bye-bye.